Hold on,
He
this is
doesn't get
called
it
a
for
heart
free,
attack grill,
man.
and somebody's actually died there. And yeah,
Yeah.
I can't eat for free.
Oh wait, that's for real?
Somebody
Oh,
actually
that's
had a
for
heart
real?
attack.
I thought it was
yeah.
like a joke.
That's
No,
for
for real. They had a heart attack.
Heart attack.
That's what happens. You put sticks of butter in your fucking milkshake, you fat sons of bitches. Don't
but
do that.
it's so good though.
Are you serious?
It's so good.
That son of a bitch, you.
I
You looked at a stick of butter and said, like, yes.
No. I looked at a stick of butter going into the chocolate milkshake, and then I said yes. I don't just. It was delicious. Listen, I'm gonna tell you wisdom that my grandmother told me. Butter makes everything better.
Okay. Let's jump to the episode.
Is your grandma Paula Deen? What?
No,
that's a loaded joke right there. I'll step away.
Never
I'll step
mind.
away.
This podcast brought to you by butter.
but
Makes
Can't
everything
believe it's not
better.
butter.
It goes with everything.
it certainly does.
All right, I'm gonna give this a shot. Are we
Oh,
tangented
man.
out?
Oh wait, are you giving butter a shot?
I
Or
think
do you-
we are.
Butter.
Episode 9 is live and well. We're warm.
Hello and welcome to No Outside Food Allowed, aka the Nofa Show. Today on episode 9, we're going to talk about violence inherent in the system, or at least in your video games. We'll talk a little DC, including Shazam and some Wonder Woman news. We're going to discuss some super challenging video games, why we keep coming back to them. And lastly, we got a little movie quiz with Sam. Hopefully some good stuff there. As always, I'm Adam. I'll be monitoring this Bad Guys Anonymous meeting today. Remember, guys, just because you are a bad guy doesn't mean you are a bad guy.
Yes.
You got
it.
Sam with
What's that? Zangief Sam? Sure, I'll take that.
we got Felix.
Like any bad guy.
Hey, pick one.
Oh yes, in
Oh.
the meeting.
I can't do bison because that would just be rude to Eddie. I'll go with Akuma. Akuma.
Nice.
Eddie,
The bison of the group.
of course, and Bison. And welcome back, Kanye.
Hey, I'm gonna be the zombie. I feel like one.
Don't
Well, yeah,
forget your hatchets, all right?
Well, he did have a long drive,
Yeah.
so he does
That's
feel
right.
a bit zombie-ish.
Totally.
A little bit. 2 weekends of travel.
Welcome back, Kanye. You were at the film festival.
I was, yeah. The True False Film Festival. It was a awesome little town, Columbia, Missouri, where the University of Missouri is. Just town felt alive all weekend. It was really cool to exit out of films and there be street parades going on with music and
Nice.
and food and drink, and it felt like a really
It's like
fun
a whole
time.
town event, huh?
Yeah, it was nice to see the town come together and be involved in it so much. And they brought in talent musically from all over the country. They were playing before the movies, which was amazing. And then I actually got to check out a couple. They put together a little concert for some of the acts later on that weekend. So there was a lot of different stuff going on. We went to a live taping of a comedy
Oh,
show.
wow. So not just movies.
No, it was just a little bit of everything. The true false part of it is because most of the movies that are submitted are documentaries. So the idea behind them obviously is that, they're true.
Do you believe it or not?
Exactly. It was nice though that they mixed in a few films that were features, but they were based on true stories. So there's one specifically I was going to mention to you guys because I think that you will love it. It's called American Animals, and it has Quicksilver, Evan Peters from X-Men.
he die?
He is in it, as well as no one dies in the movie.
Darn.
And this is a true story. It's based on 4 college kids who decide to rip off their university's library because of the priceless books that it has. And obviously it goes horribly wrong because we're talking about 20-year-old kids in college who
Have no
don't know,
plan.
their ass from their elbows. So it's like, yeah, think back to when you were 20 and if you could really pull off a heist.
Right.
Film is absolutely hilarious. So well done. Great pacing. It's getting a release date in June, so look for it in the middle of summer when it's lost in the shuffle of all the superhero
Sure.
films and sequels that are out. But it's, hands down, top of the fest. Hilarious. I will embarrass myself by saying I also saw a Mr. Rogers documentary that made me cry.
That's pretty
Yes.
cool, bro.
Ugly cry. It was bad.
Like This Is Us cry.
So, yeah, it was towards the end of that. Like I had to choke back like the hardcore tears because I don't know, it just made me connect to being a kid and growing up with Mr. Rogers. And yeah, it was just so well done.
Gotcha.
Backstory about how he got started and 20 years of different B-roll that they had with when the cameras were still rolling, but
Gotta be some
the
cool
show
stuff.
wasn't recording. It was just awesome,
Yeah.
and to see a guy that just cared about people and wanted everyone to kind of pitch in and take care of each
Yeah.
other. It was a good story to tell and really well done.
If I was you, I'd
Well,
totally
those were-
just yell, "Someone cut an onion in here." There's some onions loose in
What
here.
was the name of it?
Oh, it's embarrassing.
name
I
of
was
the
with,
documentary?
it's called Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Oh,
Won't
that's
you
sweet.
be my neighbor?
That's adorable.
That sounds really sweet.
Yeah, right.
Perfect,
It sounds
right?
just like him.
Well, going back to about
Just put a
pulling a
sweater
heist
vest
in your
on that.
20s. The
Yeah,
only thing I
yeah.
remember from my 20s was just learning how to party with you. So I can't pull a heist, but I know how to drink. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
part.
we were able to get away with a lot, but as far as ripping off a university for millions of dollars,
Yeah, we'd
I don't think we could
We'd
have
have
pulled that
failed
off.
on that one hardcore.
The only thing I can rip off was like food spoilage. Oh no, this hot
Some
dog
nachos.
spoiled. Oh no, the nachos
I-
spoiled.
we accidentally put on 6 hot dogs at 9:30 at night. Oh, I guess I'm getting dinner tonight.
So overall, it was a good experience, Kanye.
It was a great experience. I mean, I can't wait to bring some of those things back to our film festival here in town, and really just try to expand it. It really felt like an event more than just a film festival. I think.
So
but it
what
was
was
a
your
blast.
big part during the festival? Like, did you get to like?
Were there
meet-
celebrities? Or
Yeah.
Was it red carpets? Or
There were celebrities. There was no red carpet per
Mhm.
se. They would bring most of the filmmakers were there to talk after their film and kind of give you a Q&A with the audience, which
Yeah,
was
that's pretty
great.
Cool.
We did sneak into a director's cocktail party, which was
What?
kind of cool because while there weren't
Oh.
like stars per se, yeah, we just walked in. You know how it is. Like you walk by the podium person who looks like she's 15 and she doesn't stop you because you
Right.
look like you're supposed to be there.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. I got to talk to one of the filmmakers. He's from France. He did a documentary called Makala about this guy in the DCR, the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, who basically, to make money for his family, hollows out this entire tree, burns it down, makes it into charcoal, which is like a 2-week process, and then travels 35 miles on foot to sell it in a market.
Wow.
Damn.
Make money
Dang.
for his. And so he did this. The filmmaker followed him on the journey and filmed the entire thing from the start of like chopping the tree down to the end of it, where he sells it all off in
Was
the market.
he
before
like
returns
riding
home.
a
And it was-
bike as the guy was walking 35 miles?
No, yeah, right. A la Mike Tyson's
Right,
punch
right.
out training scene. No, he walked it with him. He did admit to like they took way more breaks than the guy would normally take. He would normally do the trip in 2 days, which I thought was insane. But they took normal breaks because he had to change batteries and camera equipment, and they wanted to rest and get certain shots. So, but it was cool. It was to talk to the director about it. Really like find out about the process of how he did it was amazing.
Yeah, a little bit of
So-
behind the scenes. That's cool.
It's always fun to kind of get that background knowledge.
Sounds
Yeah.
right. Sounds
View.
very grassroots.
It is. I mean, I highly suggest, with all of us being into movies, I mean, that you guys attend one at some point in time because it's fun to just get involved and get kind of immersed in the town. You're eating at all the restaurants, meeting with all the locals, talking with filmmakers and different people who are trying to even pick up the films. So there's a lot of studio stuff going on, a lot of just buzz around movies, and we all love movies. So
Sounds pretty
good.
awesome.
it's a good time.
Cool. Yeah, I was talking last week that we kind of worked a few festivals, but I never really been to one to really enjoy it like you did.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting. I kind of want to get into.
Well, it's going to happen this year. So
Yeah.
we need a duo to come up and experience it up here where I live.
Definitely,
So
dude.
October
There you
it
go.
is. Someone's
That
going to be
sounds
here.
Let's plan one.
Yeah.
For sure. Normally, we try to do our best to keep political talk off the show, but once again, with the shootings comes the argument: are video games too violent? I know Eddie loves this subject. Is society being corrupted by the video games? Some would say that's fake news. Me personally, as a gamer and a game designer and a fan of a lot of games, Mortal Kombat, Call of Duty. Never been in a fight. Never needed to push my aggression onto somebody else. I don't know, Eddie. I know you got a bone to pick with this one.
Yeah,
I think we all do.
I think everyone who
Yeah.
plays video games or has liked music videos can
It's offensive.
can argue
Yeah.
that none of this is why people have these violent streaks, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I've been playing Street Fighter since I was 6. Granted,
Right.
I have been in fights, but it wasn't like I
It
was
wasn't
going
because of
out
Street
and
Fighter.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
But
wasn't
you're kind of
going.
an asshole.
That's
Well, wait.
that's probably the
Eddie,
reason.
when you were fighting, did you use the Psycho Crusher move, or did you? Use
I wasn't
the
a Bison
Hadouken?
fan then. I was only a Ryu fan, so I did Dragon Punch. Some
Oh,
people
okay.
don't.
So video games did influence your violence. Ooh.
No, they just
Got him.
I know. I never thought about video games and causing me to like wanting to go shoot someone or beat someone up. I played Contra. I didn't think anyone in the world was like aliens invading me. I didn't like pick up a pistol and be like, "Oh, I'm getting experience points for shooting these people. I'm not getting bonus money." Because as a parent, and anyone else will tell you, you have to tell your kids what's real and what's fake.
Exactly.
When you're watching a movie and you see someone get shot, you have to tell them it's just an actor. They're gonna be okay. Video games are just pixels. That
It's
person's
not real life.
real.
You know,
It's
this is what we use to escape from, you know,
Exactly.
our reality,
It always-
our brain.
True story. As a kid, my first time seeing Predator, I was like, "Oh my god, what happened to all these people?" And then I saw Terminator. I'm like, "Wait, but how did this guy survive this movie?" Right? And my dad's like, "These are actors." And like, oh, okay. From there on out, I was like, "Okay, cool." Then I love the movies even more.
Right, yeah.
You know.
All you have to do is show them Commando and be like, "Trust me, none of this happened."
See how funny this movie is? Yeah.
Please excuse my friend. He's dead tired.
Or as Adam said earlier, Masters of the Universe.
I love Commando.
Commando is so
Sorry.
good. That is still my favorite line from that movie. It comes up every time something like this happens. They look
Yeah.
for a scapegoat, and video
They
games
do.
are like the easiest thing because of the age of the
Yeah.
people that are committing these shootings.
Video games and remember early '90s. They also blamed the music.
Music, MTV. MTV is corrupting our kids.
Marilyn Manson,
Marilyn
particularly.
Manson.
How you
Right.
blame Slipknot? It's not their fault. It's just music. Like
There was a joke. I was listening to a band called Static X, and they had a
Yeah.
song called "I
Yes.
Hate This." And I remember my ex at the time was like, "Why is he so angry?" I was like, "You don't know what he was doing when he wrote this song. He might have burnt his toast." And it's like, "I fucking hate this."
yeah, exactly. You don't know.
And so he's like, "Hey,
Like,
I
you're
could,
just
I
jumping
could
to
do something with
conclusions.
this." Yeah. So it's like, you don't know. Like, it's just
Well, like you said, it's a convenient scapegoat for them just to latch on to. We've played violent games. You played Mortal Kombat, right, Felix? I mean,
Yeah.
We especially
you don't go
we-
around pulling people's heads off.
Yeah. Funny thing you mentioned Mortal Kombat because that was actually one game that I wasn't allowed to play when I was a kid at first because
What?
because when it came out I was
Well,
like
sure, there
what
was rating
6,
systems
7
then,
years
too.
old, 5 years. I didn't know how old I was when the first game came out.
Mhm.
And if you really look at it, it's extremely graphic. A lot of graphic violence.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you literally have limbs being torn off and heads being ripped off. I mean, it's pretty intense. And just like games have a rating system, like the way movies do, it's like parents don't allow kids to see certain things at a certain age.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it's fine, to have exposure at a certain time as long as there's an understanding of what's fact and what's, or what's real and what's fantasy. But like, and that's exactly what happened with me.
Gotcha.
But just my mom just didn't want me seeing such a
Gotcha,
thing at an early age, and I was okay with that, and I totally understand that, And as I got older, she's like, "Oh, you're old enough, you can understand what's
Well,
real
you
and
can
what's not."
separate the two.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the same thing like you were saying, Sam. I saw certain movies as a kid that freaked me out. I think I saw one of the Predator movies or Terminator, I think, and it freaked me out, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
but at the same time, think about it. These are rated R movies, and I was a kid, kind of freaking out, not understanding. But you know what? My mom was there. My
Maybe.
dad was there. They both told me this is all fantasy. Don't worry about it. There's nothing. There's nothing that you have to be afraid of. It's not real. And same goes for video games. My parents, they fucking raised me right, and they're not fucking idiots. They know that this is fantasy stuff. You can go ahead and play it, and as long as you understand it, there's
Yeah,
a rating
exactly.
system for video games.
Exactly.
Parents need to be responsible and understand what their kids are looking at, and stop fucking blaming everything but themselves and their
Oh,
goddamn kids.
Exactly.
Fucking
Yeah.
take responsibility for
Yeah.
your own stupid actions and what you're exposing your kids to.
However, there is one movie that my parents couldn't explain to me to get rid of my fear, which was definitely Jaws. They're trying to explain to me it was all fake. I'm like, yeah, that's fine and dandy, but when I go to the
You're like,
YMCA swimming pool,
I still
you
can't
don't
see
know
what's
that.
under there.
Yeah, like because when I was a kid, they signed me up for swimming at YMCA, and I like screamed top of my lungs for like a day straight. I'm like, no, I'm not getting that pool. There could be a shark in there. Parents like, dude, it's closed off.
Like,
you don't know
can
that.
see, like,
I'm like,
it's only 10
there's no
feet.
proof that there's no shark in there. Okay, it come out anytime. Even I've seen Jaws.
Yeah. Yeah, movies can easily be lumped into that same category.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly.
Violent influencers. But I think there's a difference between aggression and violence.
Yeah,
You can throw a controller at a TV and that might be aggression, whereas you're not going to go out and shoot somebody.
Right.
That would be violence.
exactly.
and the video games also don't even get as into certain topics. Like there's never been a rape scene in a video game. There's like way more ultra violent, man. And John Wick 2, he kills like 300 people.
In the hallway or
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
below the
And, like,
sewer system thing, right? Like,
Not like like
But
far
they-
away.
but they-
He's
but they
like
hurt
up
his
close
dog.
shooting people in the face.
Listen,
Like-
listen. We can twist John Wick and say it's an animal lover movie. Okay?
And well, you
He
gotta
loves
say
his
there's still
animal.
a rating system for John Wick.
Right,
That's
yeah,
why it's
no,
rated
that's-
R. You know,
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
like
the level of
it's the
Compare
same thing.
the
It's
Yeah.
there's violence in every. Like, there's so
Yeah,
much.
there's
violence
much
in both.
worse things out there than video games too. And the thing is, like I said, parents have control as to what kids have access to. A lot of times they just let them go gung ho on the internet,
Yeah.
and there's
The parents
so
should be
many
doing their
worse
job.
things on the internet than video games. So
Yeah,
believe me, like you said, just because you're in control of it doesn't mean it's going to make you want to go out there and go shoot somebody or pick up a rifle. It's not going to make you a professional. Like, I'm sorry, kids, but you know what? It's not as easy to pick up that kind of machine gun that you see in Call of Duty and just go crazy with it. I mean, sure, once
They
you have it
actually
loaded. but-
did that on the Penn and Teller show on either HBO or Showtimes. They're correlating the violence and video game situation, right? So, Penn and Teller took this kid that loves his violent video games, first-person shooters. He enjoyed it so much. They took the kid to the gun range. He fired the first round. You know what he did? He fucking
Put it down?
cried. Fucking cried.
yeah,
his
you didn't
eyes
want
out.
any piece of that.
Yeah, he didn't want a piece of that. He didn't want a piece of that at all.
Hmm.
And I was like, see, it shows proof that there's a separation, between the two.
Between the two, sure.
'Cause-
I've fired a gun maybe twice at a range.
Yeah.
Before paintball. I paintballed before. You
Yeah.
know, but I played a lot of Call of Duty. There's really no correlation to me. What
Exactly.
kind of games you play, Gagne, that maybe have
Been
influenced you?
violent.
I've played all of them. I mean, I grew up and played GoldenEye with my brothers, and that's a first-person shoot 'em.
So
Where
good.
you can have that you can have that imagination where you're Bond and you're going around shooting people. And I think that the best points like Eddie made and Felix made about like communication. Like, I'm a parent now, and I had parents too who restricted me from watching certain things and doing certain things, and I think that that's where the disconnect happens, where you don't want to have to talk about it. You just want to put the blame on something. It was Marilyn Manson. And I understood that way more in the 90s, where you didn't have the access that we have to now, but the kids can see a hell of a lot worse than a fucking video game, excuse my language, that we're going to blame for why things are happening. Communicate with your children. I took my son to see, I think it was Winter Soldier. Kid loved Captain America. I was like, yeah, of course it's Captain America. I'm going to take him to see it. There's some serious, like, point blank range gunshots to the head where, like, they cut away and don't show it,
But it
but
can be easily
he's
implied.
not stupid. He can see that. And after on the way home, like, we had a talk about, like, hey man, you understand that this is fake, right? Like, this isn't happening. This, no one shot anyone in the head, and like explain to him so he understood that this was all make believe. The games that we play, the movies that we watch, they're not real. And what is real is what I'm telling you and what we're communicating to each other. And if you handle it that way, these things can be avoided.
Absolutely.
And especially the blame being thrown on, you need an answer for why these things are happening. There's
Plenty to go around.
pretty simple answer. Yeah, I mean, we won't get into the political side of it, but like that's placing the blame on media and
It's just not the right
games
spot.
and stuff. I don't see it. It frustrates me that that's always coming
I
up.
think we're all in accordance there as a group of nerds and gamers that our attention could be put elsewhere.
Yeah.
Or,
Just stop blaming the media. That's really all it is. Take responsibility for your own actions, for what you're exposing your family to, and learn to teach them the difference.
Be a better parent.
It's always something.
And leave the video games alone,
Please.
man.
it's escapism, just like novels, just like TV.
Or Elvis.
It's a way to just get away from our normal lives and
Just like make believe.
jump into another person's story. That's what that is.
Video games aren't the problem. That's all it is. Let's move on. Onward.
Moving on. So next week we're gonna get into the big debate, Batman versus Superman. But this week we're just gonna stick on a little bit of lighter DCEU news. They put out some cool photos of Shazam in the costume. We have a casting for Wonder Woman 2. We'll get to that. And also DC's put out a new comic label called their Black Label.
A little more edgier.
Yeah, a little edgier. We'll get into a little bit more details on what that is.
Good scotch.
I thought it was
Yeah,
Scotch.
right. Scotchy, Scotch. But let's start with some Shazam set photos. What do you think, Sam?
The photos, they look pretty cool per se, but I just can't unsee Chuck. Like every time I
Chuck.
see it, it's just Chuck the whole time.
I'm with you on that.
And then my other question was, I hate to say it, but I think his suit has fake muscles. I don't know if that's a lot of him.
Really?
It does look like a muscle
It
suit.
does
I
look
think.
It doesn't look like there's a lot of him there. Like you were to look at like say the cast from Black Panther, like you can tell that's their muscle.
Oh,
But with
right.
him,
Well,
like
for sure.
With him, like,
Well, all right,
not
so,
so much.
more like Henry Cavill. What he looked like, he was buff. Like
Yeah.
he filled that suit out.
Yeah.
I will give you this. He does look Shazam anyway. Looks a little bit padded.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Felix?
You talking about the actual book
The-
looks padded, or are you
No,
talking
no,
about
like
no,
the,
no,
the
oh, the
set
actor.
photos. Did you see it?
Yeah, it does look a little padded.
Yeah.
As far as the look goes, I'm okay with it.
think it looked
I'm
pretty cool, actually, but-
I'm
Yeah,
very
I liked it.
intrigued. I want to
Yeah.
see how this is going to turn out. Plus, it's also, you got to think, it's paparazzi, set photos. And nothing ever looks good just outside of the final edit, of course.
True
So,
enough.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen plenty of photos where it just looks like garbage, and then
Yeah.
come the film, like look
Right, it looks
Quicksilver. We saw-
fantastic, right?
yeah, like Quicksilver in X-Men: Days of Future Past. It looked ridiculous, but in the movie, it works.
Yep.
So you
just
got-
like how the set photos of Infinity War, like the suits
Yeah.
these guys are wearing, but
yeah,
the final
it's-
piece we know it's
we
gonna
don't
be
know
good.
what the final cut's going to look like. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and we don't know how the film's going to play out either. Because when I first heard that Zachary Levi got cast as Shazam, I'm like, is this going to be like an older Billy Batson? Like, because if you know the character of Shazam, it's a small kid named Billy Batson who
Yep.
just, I forget how he gets the powers, but he just yells Shazam and he becomes this giant dude, this whole
Giant,
like,
beefy
yeah,
Superman
this
type.
big Superman
Yeah.
kind of guy. So Zachary Levi is not that. He's a very scrawny looking dude. But yeah, I mean, he made a pretty funny tweet saying that he'd be in the gym for the rest of his life once he got cast as Shazam. So that was pretty funny. But it doesn't really show in these photos, honestly.
Well,
It
I
looks
guess
padded.
maybe he's still in the process of gaining weight, and they have to pad it for some
Yeah.
sort of filming reason. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I will say the costume looked pretty detailed. I really like the hoodie.
Very
Yeah,
accurate.
The
Very
details
accurate
done
to the
right.
costume,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's very, very accurate.
It kind of
Details.
reminds me of like an old school, like kind of cheesy, like 1960s, like, world's greatest superhero kind of vibe. So I'm wondering if they're going to go with that kind of campy, like superhero vibe with the movie. But again, we don't know. It's very early.
I'll admit I don't know a lot about the character's story. Like I know the whole transformation from Billy to Shazam, but like
Yeah.
if they went that direction, I wouldn't know if that's how the comic leans towards. But as far as the look is nice. Like it does look padded, and I don't know why. And I feel like I'm with you, Felix. Like it's gonna look different when they actually film and it shows up. Maybe they change the coloring on the shot, to make the suit look a little bit darker. Or maybe they're just trying to move away from dark because they don't want to be known.
Sure, they want to
About that anymore.
Lump it with Superman.
Don't
Exactly.
need to do that with everything.
Yeah.
That's next week, Eddie. That's next week.
We'll get to it.
But
Save it.
I was just gonna say I don't know. I'm the same as you, Ganya. I don't know too much about Shazam other than from like a couple of the DC movies and Injustice. I was gonna ask. I was like, do you think
Yeah.
they're gonna have like a kind of like a dark thing? Because the whole implication that he's a 14-year-old kid. He's actually a 14-year-old kid despite the muscles and turning into this. Because that's a spoiler alert for that game. Like he dies in that evil Superman
Oh,
fucking
Injustice?
basically kills a 14-year-old.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I don't think they're going to go that route,
You know,
honestly. Is this even connected to the rest of the DC films? I've heard that it's sort of supposed to stand on its own,
To be honest, who knows at this point?
Right.
right?
Yeah, we don't know what's going on with DC.
And
right
another
now.
thing, supposedly, The Rock is still supposed to be Black Adam,
But not in this film, I heard.
But
Well, he's a
are they
cameo,
supposed to
supposedly.
meet? Because I
Yeah.
can't picture these two going at it. If you look
Well,
at
'cause
Zachary
The
Levi
Rock
and his
is
padded
just
suit, and The
giant.
Rock
I feel like the
is
Rock's
actual
gonna whoop
beast
his
of a man.
ass.
Yeah, I mean, The Rock put Vin Diesel to shame, and Zachary Levi is not.
Vin Diesel only plays a tough guy in the movies. That's all he is.
Well,
he's a
Still.
secret nerd.
He's a doughy bald
that's
man.
true.
That's all he is.
He does like some D&D.
He is Groot.
Yes, that is correct. Speaking of Groot, you guys heard about what James Gunn tweeted?
Oh,
My
yeah.
God, Groot's dead. Get over it.
Groot's
Yeah,
dead.
yeah.
He a
Like
tree.
this is actually
Yeah.
Groot's son.
Yeah, Groot's
so
son.
He's
something,
a
yeah.
tree.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah, that's what, that's how it happens.
because Smokey wasn't there to save him. That's why
Yeah.
Smokey wasn't there.
Groot's dead. Deal with it, people.
And then also in the DC news is casting for Cheetah as the main villain for Wonder Woman 2. It should be interesting. It was Kirsten, how do you pronounce it?
Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig,
Mhm.
yeah, from SNL fame.
Yeah.
You-
Or,
She's just
or
Cheetah,
Ghostbusters
or is
fame.
it Chitara or is
No,
like
Or
No.
Bridesmaid.
Cheetah.
Or
Bridesmaids.
Bridesmaids,
Just
or
Cheetah.
Skeleton
Just
Twins. That's a good movie.
Twins, fantastic.
I've heard that I had to watch that one to see her full dramatic range,
Yes.
to see if she's going to be able to
Pull it
know,
off.
We'll see.
I hope she gets buffed too, though. She needs a little buff.
Cheetahs
Or a
aren't
little
like
lean.
supposed to be like super buff. I mean,
Well, not super
but,
buff, but
they're
like
lanky.
parkour shape.
I'm sure she will. I mean, she's not.
Yeah.
Like,
What kind of shape is that?
they're gonna have her in some kind of bikini.
kind of
I'm
shape
sure
is
she's gonna want to be in
It's a
there.
cross between a gymnast and a runner.
Oh,
There you go.
thank you.
It's wirely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
very
welcome, sir.
wirely.
Shut me down. Thank you.
I still love you.
We're definitely going to go into a little bit more character info once those movies get closer to release date.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Give you
Is
more
everybody
info on
okay
Cheetah
with her though? Like,
and Shazam.
I mean, what does everybody think about that?
For me, I'm really not a fan of SNL and kind of that sketch comedy. So I'm curious to see where she brings that character. Kind of like, Heath Ledger when he was first cast as Joker. We're like, oh, no, that's going to be a terrible casting. We'll see. We'll just see.
I think DC's kind of notorious for casting outside the box because even Ben Affleck, a lot of people were not happy about
Sure.
him being Batman, and that's
Jesse
not all right.
Eisenberg, of course.
I still
We'll get to that
don't
next
know.
week.
It's still terrible. But even Michael Keaton, like I said, like he was known for his more
Yeah,
comedic
back in the
roles
day,
back in the
sure.
day. So when he got cast as Batman, this 5'9" actor, however tall he is, like people freaked
there's
out. But
backlash on
he's
pretty
still
much
like considered
all of
probably one of the better Batmans.
Oh, for sure.
Some
Well,
people still say he's the
Still
best.
one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Still
one
one
of my
for
favorite,
Batman.
of
That's
course.
good. Well, after Adam West, of course. After Adam West.
Oh, you're
Oh,
going
God.
way back. The Wayback
What,
Machine.
You wanna talk
What
about
about
comedy.
you, Gani? What do you think about Kristen Wiig?
I'm for it just because I'm a fan of her in general. Like I'm not an issue with the fact that she's a comedian playing this role. I have full faith in Patty Jenkins and what they're doing, and they had such a good turn on the first one that I don't think they can screw this up personally. But it just depends on what iteration of the character that we can get into later. But like what they choose to do with that character is gonna. It's interesting though because they reached out to Emma Stone initially, and then Kristen Wiig, and that's just two very different like looks and feels. And like I wonder,
Styles.
okay, so we'll
What
see.
are they going with?
I want her
There's-
as Poison Ivy.
There actually has been a few iterations of the
I'm sure
Cheetah
Emma
character,
Stone had
so-
her fill, though.
Including a
Especially
guy
on
one I didn't
Spider-Man.
realize.
Yeah, there was a guy cheetah. at
Yeah,
one point.
I think there was four. Yeah,
Yeah.
four cheetahs altogether. I think from what I read, they're going to third version. I don't remember her name, but she's like the first one to actually have powers.
like mystic powers.
Right.
like
Yeah, because the first two they were
yeah.
just crazy bitches and wearing a
Cheetah
cheetah
suits.
suit. Yeah. Where the third one, she actually had powers given to her by some god, and so she actually has like razor sharp claws that
Right.
can actually penetrate like Wonder Woman's skin.
exactly.
So
that
I'm
should
curious
be
to see
clever.
what they do. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, like I think they can only go up from Wonder Woman 1. So
Yeah, definitely.
Wonder Woman was my favorite DC movie, so they better not mess up.
that one property that you like. Come on, Suicide Squad 2, man.
I liked the first one. Are we in disagreement?
I didn't think it was
about-
terrible, to be honest.
I enjoyed it.
It
was fun.
It's
I
okay.
think it'll be cool to see her as Cheetah for sure, man. She has range and chops for acting, but like as soon as I heard that she was gonna be Cheetah, all I can picture was her Target skit, but as Cheetah, the Target lady. And I was like, oh god, I need to get this out of my head. I can't get it out of my head. It's Cheetah at Target. How much is that? Like that's all I can picture.
For that reason alone, the week that movie comes out, she'll probably host SNL, and we'll probably get that skit, and it will
We'll get
be
a scene just like
amazing.
That would be the best thing. If that's the best thing to come out of this, it'll be worth it.
That alone.
Adam's very skeptical. I can hear it in his voice.
This.
Mm,
Yes.
I don't know.
The lastly, I wanted to cover DC's new Black Label.
Woohoo!
Yeah, this is apparently they want to give artists and writers a little more creativity,
A little more room to
a
breathe.
little more room. They want to be able to go off script, if you will, of the current story arcs in DC and do their own things. I think this is great. Their first one that's coming out this year is Superman Year One,
Okay.
written by Frank Miller and drawn by
Oh.
John Romita Jr.
That's gonna be awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic with that couple.
I wonder how many variant covers they're gonna have. They have to have at least 4 minimum with these guys. Seriously.
Seriously, that actually interests me. One of the few like DC comics I read was The Dark Knight,
The Frank Miller ones.
the Frank Miller
Yeah.
ones.
That's kind of what they're going for, is that feel of like The Dark Knight Returns, and that kind of separate storyline, yet it's classic. That people
Almost like
still remember.
almost
that,
got a BVS feel, like kind of
yeah,
dark.
Yeah.
Oh,
kind of.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense to me.
No, it'll actually be dark and not like we dim the cameras.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Sorry, Eddie. I'm just gonna keep trolling you as
Next
much
week.
as I can.
Next week, BVS. Be there, be
Yeah,
square.
we have plenty of time to talk about that shit movie. It's all right.
Wow. Calm down there, Cowboys fan.
Hey,
Another
I
couple
know,
of cool.
Still got 5 championships. What do you got, Tampa Bay?
I got one.
Ouch.
So, it's all right. At least I beat the Raiders.
Settle down. Settle
Yeah,
down.
who
It's not
hasn't?
even baseball season.
Another couple of cool lines coming up from DC Black Label. Wonder Woman Historia, the Amazons, kind of a history of the Amazons and how
Ooh.
Hippolyta
Yeah.
came to rise. Yeah,
Okay.
as queen.
Hmm.
Could be interesting.
All right.
Another one, Batman Last Night on Earth. Something about Batman losing track of time and space, and somehow he's traveling with Joker's head in a jar.
Yeah, dude.
Nice.
I have the synopsis right here. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Let me read it real quick. So
Huh.
it says Batman wakes up in a desert. He doesn't know what year it is or how the Joker's head is alive in a jar beside him.
Yeah.
But it's the beginning of a quest unlike anything the Dark Knight has undertaken before. In this strange future, villains are triumphant and society has liberated itself from the burden of ethical codes. Fighting to survive while in search of answers, Bruce Wayne uncovers the truth about his role in this new world and begins the last Batman story ever told.
Are
Yes.
you talking about the
Yes.
current times?
Right?
Because
Who's
it
not
sou-
interested?
It sounds
Fucking
realistic
epic.
right now.
That's
That sounds
awesome,
so
right?
good.
No,
I'm so
but
excited.
just you saying that people throw out the ethics, like that's really happening now, guys. That's crazy.
Modern day Batman.
Yeah, I love it. They're giving the creators super freedom to just do whatever they want. Obviously,
That's good,
Joker's
though.
head in a jar. Who doesn't
Yeah.
want to read
But
that?
I'm saying that sounds really good though. Just being able to let your writers and artists spread their wings per se,
Yeah.
and actually test out different things. That's really cool. Because we've been complaining lately. There's been that formula that everyone's sticking to, and it's getting kind of burned out.
True.
No,
We get some cool stories out of it. Hopefully.
That sounds cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like when they do like a different take on something like
Yes.
Max Landis's. I don't know if you guys ever read it. The
He did
American Alien.
yeah.
And
Superman.
I only read like the first 5 or 6, but it was really cool. Like
Yeah.
check it out.
I read the new take on Superman called Godson or Godson, where he actually grows up in Krypton, but he doesn't want to be the Superman. That's trying to push him towards the mantle. He's like, no, like he's very rebel without a cause situation. I was like, dang, that's actually really cool.
The what if Krypton never exploded?
Yeah, one of those situations.
There's that. There's also
That
that.
twist.
What, Red Sun, where imagining if
Yes.
Superman landed
Oh yeah.
in Russia instead of America,
Yes.
and like
Yeah.
I like that. Like play with your
That's a clever
characters. These guys have been around for 50, 60, 75 years. Like let's do some different stories. It does not have to be the same arc. He doesn't have to be married to Lois Lane. Batman's parents didn't have to die by like you just mess with things and take the character that everybody loves and put him in weird situations. And that Joker story sounds amazing. Like you get a detective
Yeah, that's super.
a detective
remember
story
the,
where Batman's kind of like the bad guy. Like he has to figure out what the hell happened. That's great.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't like one of my complaints about the BVS is not where he kills people. I was like, yeah, it happens. You know, he can't avoid it.
Don't use my argument.
Are they doing anything beyond the Trinity? Like obviously Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman get their own. Are they doing anything else? With
I did read that they're going to go into multiple other properties, Green Lantern,
Yeah.
a bunch of different
nice.
ones. Yeah, it should
So,
be
so
the
I bet
whole
you
range of
they're
DC.
probably just going to launch the Trinity first and
Most
then feel
likely.
it out from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. Go ahead, Gary.
I was just gonna say one of my favorite, stories with all those characters is Flashpoint. Where they
Yeah,
just
exactly.
basically mix everything up, and it's. I love that story. It's just so unique. So it should be good,
And they create some cool characters just by throwing a little bit of a twist into it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
right?
You
And at the end of the day, everyone just blame Wally. Damn it, Wally.
Let's see some
the Watchmen.
standalones of these new, awesome, chances at stories. So maybe they can write the cinematic universe for them at some point. Start choosing some different stories like this. Then things don't have to be connected.
Comics and movies are going to be great. Comics in particular, in that they rebirth every year or so. It's going to be easy for DCEU to change it up like that and rebirth and try and try another direction.
To have their
they'll-
pick of the litter.
Yeah, they're going to
Yeah.
do that with Flashpoint. They'll try and hit the reset button. The same thing as they do in comics. Yeah.
It'd be
Looking
cool if
forward
one
to
day
some
we
cool
can
stuff.
see Thomas Wayne on screen. That'd be dope.
Well, they've kind of hinted at it, but
You
who
mean where
knows
he's
now,
not getting
yeah.
shot?
Where he's doing the
We've
shooting?
seen him there, but doesn't always work out too well for him.
So, have you guys ever been so pissed off at a game that you throw in your controller
All the
Oh,
time.
dude,
all the time, right? How about put down a game altogether because it was just too hard?
Walk away. You had to
Yes.
walk away. Take a breather.
Just rage quit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, me totally for Dark Souls, but we'll get to that.
Nice.
Super challenging games. Why do we love to hate them? Why
we
we
love the
stop about it?
abuse. We love the abuse. Okay, we come back for seconds and
We
thirds.
keep coming back from
It's 'cause I hate
from the
myself.
original Teenage
Feed me
Mutant Ninja
more.
Turtles.
Battletoads.
Battletoads
Oh my
is
God,
of course a good
Battletoads.
one. We got a list of super challenging games that we loved.
Yeah.
And hated.
someone mentioned Battletoads, and I just want to say I used a Game Genie on Battletoads, and that shit was still fucking hard.
I actually looked up a couple of lists, and Battletoads was on pretty much all of them.
You know what it is? It's the biker.
Yes.
It's the biker level.
Yes.
Which I read was
So
like the
retarded.
second level. So anything
Yeah.
past that was just like you never even got to.
People
And
never
I
saw
actually
it.
beat it. I beat the
Yeah,
fucking
I
biker
beat
stage
it.
sometime in the last 5 years.
Oh, I haven't.
Keep in
I
mind, I'm
haven't
in my
gone back.
30s now.
Like,
I haven't played that game since I was a fucking.
I hate myself. I don't hate myself that much.
I did it though. You have any how excited I was?
What about you, Gagne? What's on your list for hard games?
You know, I was at a loss because I'm sad to admit that I'm such a bad gamer nowadays that I stay away from the ones that are challenging. Although I'm definitely gonna take the Bloodborne challenge with
Yes.
River and dive into this because I've now had another person tell me like, oh, it's free, like you have to try it. It's like it's just such a good game and it's so hard,
Yes.
but
Seems like
it's
this week
worth
we'll
it.
have to make
And
a
so,
Twitch channel then. Nofa show a Twitch channel soon.
Yes, we're gonna have to do that. Live stream some Bloodborne because I'm gonna die a lot. And
Yes,
it
you
could-
are.
I
could
think
be funny.
the draw is that it's that challenge because you just get sucked into needing to get past that get that achievement. I remember all those games that you guys mentioned, Ninja
Ninja
Turtles
Turtles.
and whatnot. Like you couldn't stop trying. Like you're like, it's not impossible. They wouldn't have made this game if you couldn't pass it. So why can't I pass it? And that little connection right there is all you need to fuel the fire to like, I'm not stopping until I beat
You don't
this
know
thing.
how powerful
So,
the mind is at just trying to connect things and make puzzles, and so just to have that hard game like Ninja Turtles, for example, where you have this underwater level, you have to play it so many times to like memorize it so that you know exactly the right path to get through.
Down to the second.
Because really, in that game, you only had one life per turtle,
Yeah.
right? But that's what made it so hard was you had to get through the whole game without no saves, no free lives, no easy mode. And like Anya said, the challenge of trying to beat that keeps you coming back.
There's such this release of like pleasure, endorphins in your brain when you
Sure.
conquer this thing that
Yeah.
you have been playing for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. And I know that sounds like, what? But like the first one that like brought me back into playing hard games was actually a game I quit after the first 4 hours of not getting past like this first checkpoint
Yeah.
or whatever, and that's Demon Souls, right? Demon Souls is still probably the hardest of the Souls series.
Really?
And there's
How does the order of that one go? Just curious.
okay. So Demon Souls came out on PS3. Super hard game. Like I'm telling you, I was playing it. And I was like, I love the feel of this game. It reminded me of a game called Kingsfield from original PlayStation first-person RPG thing. And then I found out that it's the same company that makes this game just 15, 20 years ago on PS1.
What have we learned?
But yeah, I gave up after like 3 hours. I was like, what? I don't fucking know. There's something wrong with this game. There's something wrong with me. And I gave up on it. And then like a couple years later, I heard someone talking about it and how satisfying it is to conquer a single monster. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go back. And like, there's the way that the games tell lore and stuff like that. It's all these little chunks. It's like barely there. It's not like these, not like Uncharted where it's a cinematic experience where it's Indiana Jones and like there's a fucking train crashing behind you and it's not
Start
like
running.
that, right?
You have a full
Yeah.
story right there.
Yeah, you have the full
this
story.
One you gotta
This
have
one's
to
like
piece
you're
together.
like you find a helmet that has like some scratches on it, and they're like this blah 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 blah, and you're like,
This
learn
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, this is Devin's helmet. And you're like, who the fuck is Devin? That's a made up name. That's not in the game. But, like, you find little lore pieces like that, and you're like, oh, you start to learn about these people, but then like the bosses, the NPCs in it become like this crazy thing that you want to learn more about, and it just pushes you forward to try to conquer these harder and harder bosses, and it brings it back to things like old school hard games like Mega Man 2, where it's hard because there's certain ways where you just have to learn and be patient, and that's the thing that's people aren't used to nowadays,
Level
right?
design.
Especially
Like,
nowadays. Yeah.
You see Bloodborne, or you see one of our friends when Bloodborne originally came out was like, it looks like a terrible version of God of War. I was like, well, no, God of War just you can dodge as much as you want, you can spam your attack buttons, and basically you're God. You crush all the normal creatures, and then the bosses are somewhat of a challenge.
This is the exact
this is the
opposite.
opposite.
One stab and you're dead.
Everyone hurts you. Everyone can kill you. You get careless, and that's how you die. So when you find a boss, it seems crazy because it's usually some gigantic thing, right? In Dark Souls and Demon Souls, and but if you learn, you're patient and you learn how to
the proper pattern,
patterns, and that's
yeah.
all it is. The game is all about patterns,
Yep.
and like new players don't get that.
And that's kind of like the old Mega Man thing with those bosses. You had to find the right pattern. You had to have the right weapon to kill them. You had to learn those things as you go through the game.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
That's the thing about the games too. They're actually fair. You just have to really get good at it, which I know sounds kind of whatever condescending, but like no, there is a way to beat it. If you lose, it's because you just did it wrong.
These games aren't about instant gratification. It's actually about earning it. So you have to pay your dues. Be there, be patient, learn the patterns.
You
Well,
also have to learn the patterns of the levels, right? So like at the very beginning when you first jump into Bloodborne, like you'll be walking down one alleyway and something will jump out from behind you and kill you, and you're like, well, that sucked.
So next time,
But
I'll
next
know he's
time,
around that
yeah,
corner.
You run past that point, you
Trial
turn
and
around,
error.
kill that guy, and it's just like piece by piece by piece. And people don't know that learning that is part of the game, and then getting these shortcuts, like not necessarily killing a boss. Like if you run to the boss and you haven't unlocked your shortcuts, you're gonna have a hell of a time getting back to that boss again, and it's gonna make it worse.
It's going to take longer, and you're
Yeah.
going to die more, and it's going to
It's
become
gonna
more
be more
frustrating. You're going to throw
frustrating.
the controller through the
Yep.
screen.
Or crush it in your hands.
If you-
Not
okay.
speaking from experience. Right?
Another couple of hard games that I mentioned that I wrote down was Ninja Gaiden, obviously the first one,
Oh, that's on my
and the
list.
second one,
Gaiden.
and then whatever,
Guide.
and then Devil May Cry 3, which was kind of a clone-ish of Ninja Gaiden, in that it was just super difficult, and every boss could wipe you out in one shot. And I think that game I put down before I could finish it, just
Wow.
because it was
Devil
even the
May Cry?
normal difficulty was basically super
Really?
super hard.
Yeah, I never
Devil May
played
Cry
that
3
one, but
specific.
okay, Ninja Gaiden. See, that takes me back because that fucking game.
It's so hard.
I
You had
love
to,
it.
You had to learn all the
but-
combos, right? All
yeah.
the counterattacks. You
That's
had to
one
be
I've
almost
never
flawless.
finished though. Like it was such a good game, but so
with
hard.
Ninja Gaiden, I had 2 versions, so I got abused twice on the Nintendo and on my Game Boy. I was like, why
On
am
the
I
Game
doing
Boy?
this to myself? What am I doing this to myself?
It
I'm
wasn't
hurting
hard enough
myself.
with the controller. You're gonna try it with the Game Boy.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever beat Mike Tyson?
Oh no, Punch Out? Nope.
Nope,
Nope.
not here.
Mm-mm.
Not
Not
here.
Everybody got there. Everybody cheated to get there. Did anyone ever beat?
Yeah.
I,
Mike
I never
Tyson,
actually
yeah.
got there either.
Must have been another one of those Game Genie ones.
Yeah,
I think the
Exactly.
is it the pretty boy who's like the third or fourth boss? I can't remember.
The one they.
and Punch Out.
Yeah, and Punch Out. Isn't
Uh,
there like a not? He's not actually pretty because it's a
Yeah,
Nintendo
that's just
game.
his name, right? The one he was the Goro. You
Yeah,
couldn't get
like-
past him.
For
Yeah,
8-bit.
that was probably the guy who stopped me the most.
I'll say Bald Bull. Yeah,
Yeah, that-
remembers that guy. Like that guy, he never let me get past him.
There's 2 games I wrote down. Those very simple games, but a little bit difficult. I wrote down Lion King,
Mm-hmm.
Aladdin,
Yep.
and Toy Story.
Yep.
I never played Toy Story.
Aladdin was hard as fuck.
Aladdin.
Aladdin was so
Yes.
hard.
Dude,
Yeah.
I was so
forgot about
so
that.
fooled because like I was at Blockbuster. I'm like, oh, it's a Disney game.
And it
It's
had
not
a
gonna be that
had this
hard.
great soundtrack. and-
Yes.
but it was super puzzling and challenging.
Oh,
and
dude,
yeah, I remember that game a lot.
dude, I remember the first time I defeated Toy Story. I was like, oh, I made it. I made it. I survived.
Not to stick to my whole loving Street Fighter thing, but beating that on the highest difficulty was so hard. And like the last 4 bosses, I don't know if you guys played Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo. They had like you had to pick certain characters to beat certain people.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Mm.
you had to
Yeah.
play E
Mhm.
Honda to beat Balrog. You
Right.
had to play Chun Li or Guile if you're a good Guile to beat Vega, and then Chun Li to beat Sagat, and then Bison. Like the easiest one is Guile, but then like the whole point was that you wanted to unlock everyone's story, so
Right,
you
so you didn't
just
wanna
spent
play Guile.
hours and hours and hours
Trying to beat him with the hardest one, right?
And see, that's what we were talking about before. It's like back then you couldn't save and continue a game the way you can
Right.
nowadays. Like with your Xbox or your PlayStation, you can literally just turn your TV off or like just go to your home screen and your game will be paused.
Yeah.
And you can come back to it whenever. You didn't even have to actually save your game. You can continue right where you left off. Back then, like no.
You were lucky
You-
to have multiple lives. You had like
you would play
Yeah,
that game
yeah,
until
yeah,
your
your
console was
continues.
hot and scolding
You
and
didn't have
burning a hole
save
through your
points.
carpet. Yeah,
Yeah.
like none of that. There weren't even save cartridges back
Yeah.
then. Like you
Nope,
couldn't do
nope.
anything.
I remember the 2 games that I defeated on my Game Boy that I felt so proud of was Metroid and Tetris.
Oh
Wow.
my god.
Tetris.
Tetris.
I thought Tetris
How do
was
you
one of
beat
those games that
Tetris?
never ended.
No, dude, there's a special unlock screen. Like you get a victory screen when you defeat it, because like it gets harder and harder and faster.
Yeah.
It keeps dropping bricks
So-
on you.
Yeah.
You gotta rotate. You gotta keep going.
You can there's in most Tetrises they have like a level, like if you go through the whole thing, you can get where it's invisible.
Invisible
can
blocks.
You can see what's coming next, but then it comes down
Oh, wow.
invisible. There's-
No.
That's
And
nice.
like the winning
Professional
screen,
That doesn't
players
sound
who
fun
do
at
it.
all.
It sounds like my
the
Sounds
winning
like
victory
life.
screen is like it plays
It's a training
music
for
and it
life.
launches missiles. You're like, yay! I set off the missiles.
Wow.
It's
crazy.
ridiculous.
Really didn't know there was an ending for that.
Did you guys ever play
yeah.
original Castlevania?
Oh god.
Oh yeah.
That game is really
Yeah,
hard.
I never beat that one either. I love that game. That's still
Yes.
one of my favorites of all time. But
See,
I've
a lot
never
of
beat
those
it.
old like NES games, Final Fantasy, Dragon Warrior, those games like stupid hard games that I never beat. Like, and a lot of it was just because you couldn't save. You had to go through it all in one sitting.
Legend of Zelda 2 is actually like a side
Yes,
scrolling
that was on
RPG.
One of the
Link,
lists I
think
read,
it's
man.
called like it's Legend
Adventures of
Zelda
Link.
Yeah. Oh my god, that game is super hard. If you can beat that game, mad props. I don't care how many times anybody beats any of the Dark Souls games,
Yeah.
Bloodborne. I don't care. Platinum all. Not as impressive as if you beat that game.
Another one that I liked as a kid was the Jurassic Park for the Super Nintendo. It was a weird
yeah.
top-down one, but when you went inside building, it switched to like a first-person shooter game.
Oh, that's cool.
But in that game, like I said earlier, you only had one life, and you had to go through the whole park. Dinosaurs chasing you, collecting eggs and key cards and stuff. And it was nearly impossible to beat that game. Yeah, good times though.
Yeah, real good times.
Yeah, just
Um,
frustration.
I was gonna say a new one that came out recently. That's actually a great game, but it crushingly hard. Cuphead. It is on Xbox
Uh-huh.
right now. Go play this game. First of all, it's an indie game, so go support indie artists because
Agreed.
You just do it.
Yeah.
Go do it. They make
Beautifully
some of the best stuff.
animated, too.
Yes, the animation is
great
fucking
looking game.
gorgeous. It's like very
hand-drawn.
old. It's literally all hand drawn. This game is
Yeah.
entirely hand drawn. I think
heard
this is
about
like a
Old school Disney
like
style.
a 5-person studio game. Like I don't know. It's just like
That's
a few people
yeah.
on this game, and they actually drew this game over the couple of years. And
Yeah, I really appreciate the
it's-
artwork. Dude. It looks
it's
really good.
It's all platforming boss rush games. It's brutal. It's
I've
very
heard
very
it's one of
hard.
the
But
hardest
it's very
games, yeah.
satisfying. It's really fun too. I mean, go play it. It's
How
a
bad
great
does it
game.
hurt your soul when you play the game?
I have a good time playing it, but when I'm sitting at a boss for 1 hour, I just gotta walk
Can't
away.
hack it. You're like my fingers are tired.
It's really
the longest I've been on a boss, I think, is Bloodborne
Again.
DLC.
Oh, great.
The
Looking
first
forward to
bo-
that one.
The first DLC boss, right? I didn't level up enough, or for casuals, you can keep leveling up. That's the thing about it's an RPG. I was only like level 60 or something after I beat the game, and I was in New Game Plus, and I was like, oh, I'll go do the DLC. What's the problem? Spent like 6 hours on this guy. I was trying to bring people in to help me. Of course, those games are like, hey, you brought a person in, so it gets more life and it does more damage. But to try to balance out to keep it difficult. So when you
Oh,
have
jeez.
4 people in, and it's like, yeah, it is easier. It still is easier to, even with all the damage buffs and health buffs. But it sucks because you'll summon some random person on the internet. They'll die instantly, and you
now
still
you're
have a
stuck.
boss that has 300%
More hit
health
points,
life
right?
and-
And you got to do it by
Yeah.
yourself.
So wait, I can summon Adam to die for me, and then I can just spend more time trying
Yes,
to.
indeed.
beat
Maybe
this
we'll
guy.
have to
This is
co-op
amazing.
this thing,
And you
Gagne.
can co-op up to
Amazing.
3 other people, so 4
I think
people.
so.
I'm holding off to even starting the game until I can get you guys onto the Twitch channel with me. So
Okay,
For
sounds
sure.
fair.
yeah, that should be entertaining. We'll try and put that up on the podcast site as well.
I was gonna bring up one other random game. Back in the Genesis days, anybody remember a game called Kid Chameleon?
I remember.
Yeah,
I
Yes.
remember the name.
This
But,
thing had like over 100 levels, and like you could not save. Like, so you had to beat this game in one sitting, or Game Genie like I did,
yes.
and win.
You game genie bastard.
99 lives.
Never
was the
had
way,
one.
man.
That guy, I don't got that kind of time, man. Come on.
Even as a kid, when I had
No.
nothing else to do.
So, I got books to color. I got dinner to eat.
Need his
You
God
got,
mode,
you got
baby.
Slurpees to go try out.
Books to color.
Well, those are some of our favorite hard games. How about some of yours? Let's hear 'em,
Exactly.
guys. I'm
Like to
curious.
love to hear back from the audience.
Absolutely.
Comments definitely, dude. Let us know.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch that we missed.
Oh yeah.
Especially recently. Like, it's been like the thing. Like, oh, let's go back to old school and hurt people's feelings.
Break TVs.
Yeah, rage out.
Rage quitting. Yep. You guys let us know what games you rage quitted on. I think we got one last thing. Sam, what do you got for us today?
I have a good old fun movie trivia game. You guys
Right.
ready?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Here we go.
Our names are our buzzers, right?
Yep,
Correct.
That is correct. Got up to 13 questions, and from
Lucky
there
13.
we'll see who had the most points.
Sounds good.
And please, no arguing amongst each other. No fighting. Please keep tally properly. You know.
Adam.
Like, what?
Are you guys ready for the challenge?
Is this
Yeah.
all movies or what are we talking?
Oh, it's all movies, dude. It's all like questions, or quotes or actors, whatnot. You know, the fun
Questions
stuff.
that have answers? Awesome.
Perfect.
Those are my
Awesome.
favorite kinds of questions.
All right,
All
Sam,
right.
give it to us.
Here we go. So for the first question, what is the running food item gag between Shaun the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End?
Ice cream? Oh, Felix?
Sorry, what was that? Who was that?
Is it ice cream?
What was your name again?
Felix.
Okay, you can chime in, sir.
Felix. I think I said my name 3 goddamn times. It's a fucking ice cream.
But what's the name brand?
I don't know.
Oh man,
Gotta
I
be
want
specific.
to give you a point for that, but
I'll take a half point. Ice cream.
I mean, it's better than any of us we're gonna get. So
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck. I was gonna say
Yeah.
bacon. I don't know.
your love for Edgar Wright, Sam, knows no bounds.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Fine. Give him half a point.
Half a point.
take a
All
point.
right,
Have a point for Felix.
It's Cornetto, and the
the Cornell trilogy. That's what
yes,
they called it.
Cornetto trilogy,
That's
and the
right.
corresponding color was green, red, and blue.
That's
Yes,
colors, plural.
yes. Color.
Damn you. Damn you,
Sorry.
Edgar Wright
This might be
quiz.
another trivia that I'm not good at.
Okay. The second question, really easy. Which film features the quote, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn"?
Adam,
Gagne.
Oh, Adam, go for it.
Casablanca.
You're wrong.
As Gone with the Wind.
Yes.
It was the other one.
Go Gagne. Get your point.
One for
Taking
Gagne.
my point.
Okay. Next question. Jack Burton and Lopan are characters from which 1986 movie?
Gagne.
Jack. Yes, Gagne.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Correct, sir.
Wow.
Nice.
That's right.
Nice.
Sam was
Love
the
that movie.
guy with the big beard.
Okay. Please name the two type of animals used during the argument in The Other Guys between Alan and Terry.
Eddie,
Yes, Eddie.
tuna and a lion.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's random.
I actually don't remember that.
It's when they're arguing about. He's like, if I was a lion, I would eat you. And he's like, and he's talking about, I'm a tuna.
Right.
He's like, you're gonna eat a tuna? A 500-pound tuna?
That's a 10-year lose that battle, my friend.
Oh, man.
It's so stupid. But that's why I knew the answer.
Okay. This one, you get a point for getting it right, but you also get a point for actual being able to name the film too.
Okay.
Okay. So, what is the name of the restaurant with the goofy shit in the wall and serves mozzarella sticks?
Felix.
Gagne.
Felix, what is it?
Shenanigans?
And what movie?
Waiting?
Huh?
Waiting? Oh, actually, shit.
Whoops.
Oh,
Sorry.
half point. You only gets half point.
Sorry.
Can I get
Okay,
a
so
bonus point? I know what movie it is.
the second person was Gagne, correct?
It was.
So Gagne, go ahead and take his
It's-
points.
I'll take the half Super Troopers point.
Wait, don't I
Okay.
still get one?
You
Yeah,
got
you get
one.
one.
You got one.
So
Gagne
you each
one
get one.
half.
Wait.
No, Gagne gets one, right?
Yeah,
There's a
Gagne
bonus
gets one.
point.
Yeah.
He himself said he would take a half a point.
Oh, no, he gets one
Well,
point.
it's worth 2 points, right?
It's worth 2 points.
Yeah.
This was worth 2.
Oh.
It's fine.
I got the name of the restaurant. Damn it.
I was thinking waiting too, honestly.
Well, because I said shenanigans, I started thinking of the stupid Dane Cook song. He's
I
like,
knew-
eat a shenanigans. We make your food for you.
Okay. You guys ready for the next
Fucking
one?
Dane Cook, man.
Always.
What song is featured in Fight Club and Sucker Punch?
Felix?
No problem. Take your time, guys. So,
Felix?
what song is featured
Felix,
in
go
Fight
ahead.
Club and Sucker Punch? Go for
Is
it.
it Sonic the Youth? Where's my head?
That
No.
was very
Next one.
specific.
Damn
Sorry.
it.
I don't know.
Gagne.
Gagne, go for it.
It's the Pixies. Where's my mind?
Damn it.
That is correct, sir. That is
Oh.
My
correct.
bands. Damn it.
Oh, look at that. You feel that
Wow.
stab into Felix? I
Ah,
can see it.
music guy.
It hurts him.
I
It
know.
hurts him.
I've mixed my
Music.
punk bands. Goddamn it. Well, not real punks, but whatever.
Well done, Gagne.
Damn it.
Gagne's in the lead here for the
1.5.
One and a half.
1.5.
Chris has beaten me by half.
Okay. Next question. What does Cameron Poe, H.I. McDonough, and Ben Gates all have in common? These are the fictional characters.
Can you
But-
say him again?
Okay. It is Cameron Poe, H.I. McDonough, and Ben Gates.
They have in common.
Yes, what do they
I
have in
know
common?
I know the first character. I don't know the other two.
Felix?
Oh, he's going for it.
All right, Felix, go
They
for
were
it.
all in Con Air.
Nope. Next.
I have no idea.
I got nothing.
I wanted
I got nothing.
Eddie, Unusual Suspects, or the Usual Suspects. Ooh.
Characters played by Sam Jackson.
Well, not Sam Jackson.
Gagne.
someone- Yes, Gagne.
Characters played by
Oh,
Nick
damn
Cage.
it.
That is correct,
Oh.
I
sir.
saw it coming as soon as Adam said that. I was
Wait a
like,
minute.
damn it.
Wait a minute. I veto that. We already said we were getting the answer, correct?
What do you mean? I was about to give out the answer, but he
He
answered
did.
it.
Yeah, he did call his name
I
before
don't
he
know.
did it.
All right. Good point there, Gani. I'm glad I could give you that one.
Don't be
Just a
so
little,
salty.
just a
That
little
was
salty.
Nick
I'm
Cage
it's
based on
not on the
Con Air.
board yet. All right? I don't know. What?
I'm still mad about the Pixies
That's,
question.
that's a cheap one. That's a pretty cheap point, but I'll take it.
Okay,
all
okay.
good.
This one should help somebody or anybody. Okay. Now listen
Adam.
carefully. The song "Stuck Here in the Middle with You" is playing during what scene?
Eddie.
Where's what?
Gun-
Dang it! Yeah, no,
It's
that was-
Reservoir Dogs where he's torturing the guy.
I was waiting for you to finish the question, and this rude motherfucker trying to That's bullshit.
Yes,
I was
point.
waiting to finish the question.
The saltiness is rising.
I was being a fucking proper competitor.
Do you mean dock him half a point? Would that make you feel better?
If this was Jeopardy, he wouldn't be able to ring in.
You want to say what is what you're seeing?
What will make Chris salty?
All right, playing prison rules, huh? All right, I'm just gonna chime in whenever.
Go
for
for
it,
it.
Sam.
Okay. Oh, ready? What film features Chaz Palminteri, Michael Rosenbaum, and
Adam.
Rick Schroeder? Yes, Adam.
Pool hall junkies.
That is correct. You're on the board.
One of my
You
favorite
You made that
movies.
specific
would-
for Adam.
Again, I was waiting for the
I think
question to
that
be
was an
finished.
Adam question.
Maybe. It's one of my favorite movies. Glad to be on the board. Welcome to the game.
Welcome
Okay,
aboard.
okay. Here's a fun one, guys. Here's a fun one, I promise. Please name the two movies that stars Aziz Ansari and Michael Pena. Whoever's
Eddie.
ready, please say your name correctly. Yes.
Fuck, it was just in
that's
my
not the
head.
answer.
It was,
Fuck is
I-
not the answer.
no,
Jesus, sorry.
I know which one.
That is correct. Kanye, anybody?
Crickets.
Adam?
Nothing. I got nothing.
Can I say one of them? I think it's the name of it.
Okay.
30 Minutes or Less.
Correct.
And then, that's the other one I can't.
The other one is Observe and Report.
Observe and report. All
That's right.
right.
I forgot that's a Rogan thing. Seth Rogen.
I think I might have seen.
I forgot
this
Aziz
one.
Ansari was in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I forgot he was in
Just wanted to take a stab at it and
Good
just hope
connection.
that Aziz Ansari was an end of watch, because that was my guess.
that.
Okay, okay. This one's really funny, simple one. Okay. What's the name of the film that features the quote, "Shut up, Chip, or I'll go ape shit on your ass"?
Felix,
Damn it.
Talladega Nights.
That's correct, sir.
That's right. Chip's good grandfather.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, okay. Another quote. Okay, just name the movie for me, and we're good. The quote is.
Gotta get that.
Yeah.
The quote is, "Good night, Wesley. Good work. Sleep well. I'll most likely kill you in the morning."
Adam. Princess Bride.
Another Adam question.
These are anybody
Well,
questions.
yeah,
These
like
are
two of his
anyone.
favorite movies
I
right
do like
there.
that movie,
Notice
though.
how nobody else chimed in, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a while.
I was just trying to let you catch up.
Thanks, brother.
I mean, he's still got a really big lead.
He's got a
So.
big cushion.
Okay.
Hey, as soon as you said Wesley, I mean, come on. Princess Bride.
The
Not
last
Wesley
question.
Snipes.
Super easy last question. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Eddie,
kind of.
Deadpool.
And now you're done.
It was just a joke.
What film stars Sean Connery, Ed Harris, and Nicholas Cage?
Adam.
Felix.
Oh, fuck this game. I hate all of you.
Dang, everybody yelled at the same time. I heard Adam first. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Felix.
I heard it, Madden first.
The Rock.
That is correct. Why'd you say fuck this game?
The answer, I didn't get my name out first.
Screw this game.
I forgot my name.
I almost said Edward, and then I went back to Eddie.
Well done. Gagne's the winner there with 5. Well done. Yay.
Yeah.
Way to come back, Adam. Way to come.
And
Yay.
thank you.
Who got
thank you.
second place?
Actually, I did with
Eddie-
3.
Adam,
Yeah.
and then Chris got me by half a
Got
point.
it. Yeah, half a point.
And for some reason, I put a section for Sam.
Oh no, I lost. I got 0 points.
Got 0 points.
Damn it.
Sam's got all the points.
Yeah, Sam's got all the points.
Thanks for playing, gents. Thanks for putting up with my craziness.
There you go. Hopefully, the audience had more than Eddie did.
Damn. Says a man barely came back in the last 4
I
questions.
got one more point than me.
And let us know if you got any half points, anyone.
That's right.
Damn it, Dane Cook. Screwed me up.
I told you I do the questions where you know the answers by heart, but you're like, damn it, I
It's
can't.
half right. Damn it.
Good times. All right, guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up with that. Anything you want to close the show with?
Please subscribe. Love us.
Love
Give
us.
us your reviews.
Tell us some of your hard games. Don't forget.
That's
Comment.
right.
Or any suggestions, comments, anything.
Yeah, just comments about what we talk about. I like to hear it.
Yeah, let us
Just
let us
talk
know
to
what
us.
you want us to talk about. You know, we're always trying to come up with stuff, but maybe there's a great category that we haven't thought of yet. So let us know. Thanks everybody for joining us. Catch us next week for the great BVS debate.
Oh
Yes.
no,
It's
the
gonna be
friendship
awesome.
breaker.
Get bloody.
Find us on all the podcast sites and of course our website nofashow.com. Let's close out, guys, with the bad guy affirmation. You know it. I'm bad, and that's good. I will never be good, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me. Thank you, Wreck-It Ralph.
Thank you. Looking
Thanks,
for
every-
the second one.
Take it easy, everybody. Have a good night.
Oh man, that was good. That was really good.